Okay. Hello, my dear students. Today we shall continue with our lectures. In our previous lesson, we discussed the main trends and the main basic notions of grammar. What is grammar? How is it formed? How many types of grammar? And today we shall discuss the main methods of analysis in English grammar. So you have to keep in mind that in order to do some research in theoretical grammar, we must make use of methods of analysis in grammar. Whether it may be theoretical grammar or uh, universal grammar, doesn't matter. We have to do some research. So let's go. The main methods of analysis in English grammar. So in my seminar, I'll be discussing language and speech and main basic notions of basic units of grammar. But in this lecture, in this video, I will mainly discuss main methods of analysis in English grammar. Let's go. So the main methods are the distributional method and the method of immediate constituents. The distribution analysis is a method of linguistic research in which the classification of linguistic units and the study of their features are carried out on the basis of the distribution of the units in question in the spoken chain. Example, on the basis of their combinability. Context unit 1, context in question, context unit 2. It's combinable in mind context. So these are the basic notions you have to keep in mind. Linguistic units with similar distributions have similar meanings. It's a distribution hypothesis. The method of immediate constituents. The term immediate constituents IC was introduced by Bloomberg as follows. Any English-speaking person who concerns himself with this matter is sure to tell us that the immediate constituents of poor John ran away are the two forms, poor John and ran away. That each of these is in turn a complex form. That immediate constituents of run away are ran and away, and that constituents of poor John and are poor and John. For John ran away, the first one, the first constituent, poor John, and it comprises of poor and John, and the second constituent, run away, which comprises of ran and away. The method of immediate constituents. This method is based on the binary principle. Each stage of the procedure involves two components. The unit immediately breaks into. The analysis is complete when we arrive at constituents incapable of further division. So we will divide it as far as possible. Definitions for the method of immediate constituent. What kind of definition? 1. An immediate constituent is a word or a group of words that functions as a single unit within a hierarchical structure. Definition 2. The ultimate constituents are the smallest meaningful units in which any given construction can be broken down to, consisting of morpheme at the morphological level and a word at the syntactic level. Definition 3. Linguistic procedure which divides sentence into the component parts of constituents in this way is known as constituent analysis. Definition number 4. The segmentation of the sentence into its immediate constituents by using binary cutting until its ultimate constituents are obtained is called immediate constituent analysis, IC analysis. Transformational grammar. Now we shall move on to transformational grammar. The idea of transformation grammar was first suggested by Zelig Harris as a method of analyzing the raw material. and was later elaborated by Noam Chomsky as a synthetic method of generating translating sentences. You can see this picture. Transformational grammar is a system of grammatical analysis that uses transformations to express the relations between elements in a sentence, clause, or phrase, or between different forms of a verb phrase, as between the passive and active forms of a verb. Transformational grammar refers to syntax that presupposes the recognition of such linguistic units as phonemes, morphemes, and form classes, the latter being stated according to the distribution and the ICN analysis of other forms. So, according to Chomsky, the central goal of linguistic theory is to determine what it is that people know if they know a particular language. Knowing a language involves having the ability to produce and understand unlimited number of utterances of that language that one may never have heard or produced before. A GM general method is a system of explicit rules that may apply recursively to generate an indefinite number of sentences that can be as long as you want them to be. GM is a system of explicit rules that may apply recursively to generate an indefinite number of sentences that can be as long as you want them to be. For example, John saw the picture of the baby on the table in the attic. S sentence, N noun, NP noun phrase, verb, VP verb phrase, P preposition, PP prepositional phrase, DP determinant phrase, DET determiner. So these are the main. For example, we can see the structure here. It's a sample structure and given, for example, S, NP, and John saw the picture of the baby. For example, John, NP, noun phrase, N, saw the DP determiner is a picture, noun, P of preposition, D determiner, baby, and so on. In generative linguistics, grammar refers to the implicit, totally unarticulated knowledge of rules and principles of the language that people have in their heads. The tacit knowledge enables them to distinguish between well-formed and ill-formed words and utterances in their language. Example, it's correct to say a grain, but incorrect to say a ought. In generative linguistics, the term grammar covers not only morphology and the syntax, but also semantics, the lexicon, and phonology. Phonological rules, morphological rules, syntactic rules, and semantic rules are all regarded as rules of grammar. Chomsky has shifted the focus of linguistic theory from the study of observed behavior to the investigation of the knowledge that underlies that behavior. So these are the main notions by Chomsky. In generative linguistics, rules are intended to go beyond the content of patterns in the data to a characterization of speakers' linguistic knowledge. The primary objective of generative grammar is to model a speaker's linguistic knowledge. Chomsky characterized linguistic knowledge using the concepts of competence and performance. So you can see the main division of linguistic knowledge. So linguistic knowledge comprises of competence and performance. You can see on the computer screens. Competence is a person's implicit knowledge of the rules of a language that makes the production and understanding of an indefinitely large number of utterances possible. Performance is the actual use of language in real situations. Chomsky proposes that competence rather than performance is the primary objective of linguistic inquiry. Chomsky contends that the linguistic capacity of humans is innate. The general character of linguistic knowledge is determined by the nature of the mind, which was specialized language faculty. Innate means inborn, Innate means inborn here. Innate means inborn. This faculty is determined in turn by the biology of the brain. The human child is born with a blueprint of language that is called universal grammar. So let's move on to universal grammar. LED, language acquisition device. LED. So you can see how knowledge is acquired. LED, set of common grammatical rules, universal grammar. So universal grammar means set of common grammatical rules. So this is universal grammar. Okay. According to Chomsky, universal grammar is the faculty of the mind that determines the nature of language acquisition in the infant and of linguistic competence. Okay. Universal grammar theory. So, universal grammar rules. So, here we have to keep in mind that, as I said in my previous lecture, grammar consists of several branches of grammar. And now, in this lecture, we shall revise universal grammar rules. Because in order to do some grammar research, in order to do research by means of immediate constituents method or any other method, you have to get some general information about rules, universal rules inherent in English language. So, in the previous slide, I gave some information about universal rules. You can see it, how universal grammar is acquired. And now we shall move on to universal grammar theory put forward by Chomsky. So, Chomsky believes that children will never acquire the knowledge to process an infinite number of sentences if the language acquisition mechanism was dependent on language input alone. The theory of universal grammar was proposed, suggesting that all children are born with ability to acquire, develop and understand grammar regardless of where or how they are raised, noun, verb, category. So this suggests that children acquire grammar rules naturally by themselves. So everybody has a natural ability to acquire grammar rules, but we don't acquire it in theoretical way. We acquire it practically. So this is the main theory which lies beyond universal grammar rules. The properties that lie behind the competence of speakers of various languages are governed by restricted and unified elementary principles rooted in universal grammar. Okay, universal grammar. The theory suggests that linguistic ability manifests itself without being taught, and that there are properties that all natural human language share. It's a matter of observation and experimentation to determine precisely what abilities are innate and what properties are shared by all languages. So you have to distinguish between innate abilities and which are the abilities which are gained during your lifetime. This explains the striking similarity between language in the essential structural properties. The structural differences between language occur within the range sanctioned by universal grammar. Okay. So, universal grammar. Language is governed by a set of highly abstract principles that provide parameters which are given particular settings in different languages. This is all for about grammar, universal grammar, and methods used in grammar. So I hope um, you gained some information about methods, main methods used in English grammar. That's all for now. Thank you for your attention.